welcome to Stitchity Doodle. This is a handmade channel where we talk about crochet, sewing, amigurumi, dolls, and toys for kids of all ages. So if that interests you, stick around and keep on watching. This episode is going to be food themed, and my first project comes from this book by Lauren Espy, and it's called Crochet Cafe, and I chose to do the bento box. I love the layout of this book. This is how it basically looks, and I love this chalkboard art look of it. It's just so beautiful, and this is like the theme throughout the entire book. But this is the project that I chose to do, and here's my project. So it's comprised of different parts. This is the bento box. It's got, this is what we call musubi in Hawaii, but in Japan they call it onigiri. And this is the nori, or seaweed laver, seaweed paper, laver paper. This is a hot dog octopus, and it's made where you cut a hot dog in a specific manner so that when it's cooked, the sliced parts get curled and they turn in, and they end up looking like octopus. So that's why it's called hot dog octopus, or taco. Taco is octopus in Japanese. And then here we have a half hard-boiled egg, or tamago. And then in this bento box are 2 of these cherry tomatoes. And then we have our edamame, or I believe they're called soybeans in English. And then I wanted to make a second onigiri that had ume inside of it, which is like a pickled plum, usually red in color. So I need to work on that, but I don't know. It depends on how much effort I want to put into it, or just leave it plain, because they do have plain onigiri as well. And then this is not part of Lauren Espy's bento pattern. I got this from Crochet Cuties here on YouTube, and she has a free tutorial that you can watch, and I just thought it needed a little extra protein. And you don't typically see drumettes in bento boxes, but it's not like it's taboo or anything. They're usually like maybe karaage, or some other kind of small fried chicken that doesn't usually have a particular shape. It's just kind of like a popcorny, organic looking shape. But I thought that the shape of the drumette would be super cute in the bento, so that's why I chose this. And it fits ever so nicely in here. Now, Lauren does put eyes to make them look kawaii, but I decided not to put in the eyes because I initially made this wanting to do like a side-by-side short with my crochet version and then the real food. So maybe it might happen, maybe it won't, but that was the initial idea of why I made this, and why I didn't put the kawaii eyes onto the little bento pieces. Now for this pattern, I did do a custom size bento box, because this box, I actually have a bento box here at home, and this is the closest color that I could get to it, and I wanted to make it somewhat big so that I could do a side-by-side comparison. So it's kind of similar to the actual size of the bento box that I have here at home. For the onigiri, I did make my own pattern from scratch. If you look at a typical onigiri, it's kind of flat like this if you look at the side profile, but triangular. And this is more realistic to what a typical onigiri looks like. And so in order to achieve this shape, I started off with a chain and then I worked around it to create this shape, and it ends up with a circle at the top. But if you look at Lauren's onigiri pattern, it looks more like a teardrop shape, which is fine because I think it looks super cute, like a stylized onigiri take. But for my particular intention for making this, I wanted it to look more realistic, so that's why I went with this particular shape. I also added the crab stitch around the edge of the bento box in the hopes that it will give it more structure so it could hold its shape. But because I made the box so big, it's kind of hard to keep its shape without anything to help it keep its shape. Like some patterns use cardboard or the plastic canvas to help give it that rigidity and structure to certain pieces, but I didn't want I usually use plastic canvas and I didn't want it to be visible, so I just tried this. I mean, I could also try, what did they use, like liquid starch or something to kind of stiffen it up. I guess I could try that. I've never tried it and I've always wanted to try it, so I guess this would be a good project to try that on. As you know, I mentioned that I did add this to my little bento box. For this pattern, or for both of these patterns, Lauren's bento box pattern and the chicken drumette, I didn't find any errors in any of these two patterns. Now for this pattern, I used Premier Basics in the colors white, mustard, ember, leaf, and turquoise, Premier Everyday Worsted in the colors Really Red, Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek in the colors Green Apple and White, and I Love This Yarn in the colors Cinnamon and Light Taupe. I also used black felt for the one onigiri, and then with a 3.75 millimeter hook, I got a bento box size to be 5 by 8 by 3, and it's 3 inches height with the goodies in it. The actual box is slightly shorter, but with the food inside of it, it ends up to be about 3 inches tall. I'm super happy with this and how it turned out. It looks delicious. This is what Miko and I would love to eat. We love our bentos and Japanese foods. And bentos are typical of what Japanese children would bring to school, is bento boxes, and or even husbands, like the women will cook for their husbands and pack them up a bento lunch to bring to work. And it's just, it's quick, it's easy, and it's super delicious. All kinds of things can go in a bento box. But this is just the simplest. So you'll usually have some kind of protein or multiple proteins, your carbs, and then I guess there's fats in here, but vegetables as well. My next finished project is an egg. Now this is not an ordinary egg. His name is GUDETAMA, and he is a character from Nicz. Now if you're not familiar with Nicz, it is a Japanese company somewhat similar to Sanrio, which is the company that makes the iconic character Hello Kitty. So Nicz is a rival company to Sanrio, and one of their characters is GUDETAMA. And GUDETAMA is a lazy egg, so you'll often see him in different poses where he's just kind of laying there on his egg white, usually with his butt up. And you can see the little butt cheeks sticking out. It's a fun character, super cute. He's very popular, and you can actually find him on Netflix. He has his own series. It's called GUDETAMA, an Excellent Adventure. And it's got season 1 already there. And Miko and I watch it. It's so super cute. I cried at the end. But I'm just a crier altogether. I cry in all kinds of movies, basically everyone that I watch. I've even cried at a horror scary movie. True story. Now the pattern that I used is by Ollie Holly. And I also used Lauren Espy's egg pattern, which comes from this same book. So I took the bacon pattern from here and I used it for it. And that's Gudetama's blanket. Now I don't actually have it here with me to show you, but I'll try my best to put a picture here. And this is a special request by one of Miko's best friends. And so before the end of school, I figured I'd try and make it. And I did finish it, and I already gifted it to her. She was super excited, very grateful. She told me thank you. And yeah, it was a fun make. It was very cute. It came out exactly like how the pattern showed, and I'm just super happy. I love making character amigurumi. I think they're fun, and I think they're challenging at times, only because sometimes they don't quite come out looking like the character. So I enjoy it when it actually does come out right and it does look like the actual character and it's recognizable as such. So I really enjoy making these. What I have to say about this pattern for the legs, if you're one of those people who does not like working in rounds, in small tight rounds like tubes, like say 4 single crochet, or I've even seen, I think 3, I want to say 3, I don't know, but 4 is super tight for me. 5 is also super tight for me. Now 6 is doable, but I don't exactly enjoy it. So anything smaller than a 6 is like, it's such a pain. And sometimes I feel like it's not worth it. But I muster through it. But just to let you know, this particular pattern does have a super tight tube to work in for the legs. Also for the legs, the designer does not mention to chain 1. So when you work in rows, usually you work your row and then you chain 1 for a single crochet, and then you go back and forth and chain 1, back and forth, chain 1, back and forth. But this particular pattern does not have you do a chain 1, and this is not an error. I believe this to be intentional, and it is for specific shaping of the legs. So don't think that it's an error, because I did at first. I thought it was an error. I did a chain 1 and I went back and forth, and when I looked back upon the picture, I realized, oh, I think it was intentional. So I ripped it back, and then I did it without the chain 1. So if you do notice that, it's not an error. It is intentional. So just keep on with the pattern as it's written. For the egg whites, you'll notice in the pattern on her blog or website, certain for round 12 of her egg whites, certain stitches will be colored green. So just to let you know, those green stitches are your increases. So if you were to see 2 DC, which is 2 double crochet, versus double crochet 2, it can get confusing. So I want to clarify to you that a 2 DC or a 2 double crochet will indicate to double crochet in one stitch and double crochet in the next stitch. So you have 2 double crochets. But if you were to see a DC2 and it's in green, that means to double crochet in one single stitch for an increase. So that's your double crochet increase. I hope I'm making sense. Just know that the green stitches are your increases. Now there is another increase in that round that's black, and that's only because it's a single crochet increase. So your green ones are your non-single crochet increases, and the black increase is just a single crochet increase. Everything else is just one stitch per stitch. If you have any questions, feel free to write down below in the comment section. I hope I clarified that for you. I did not find any errors in this pattern, and it was fun to do. It was easy to work up, and I'm super happy with the way that it came out. This pattern was easy to follow. However, I would say that the most difficult part for me, and also the designer, I think she had mentioned in her blog, was the facial details, the mouth specifically. I ended up using black embroidery floss for the outline of the mouth, and for the inside of the mouth, I used white wool roving and a needle felting needle to needle felt it in. And I believe the designer said that she took maybe 5 different tries before she got it right, and she was happy with the end result. I think I might have taken it just as many times. So it may take a few tries before you get it right, unless you have experience with needle felting and you're used to it on amigurumis. Maybe it might come easier for you, but for me, it took me quite a few tries before I got it right, and I was happy with it. I got to the point where it was good enough and called it done, so just be aware. For this pattern, I used Yarn Bee Sweet Minis in white and yellow, Premier Basix in Ember and Garnet, and I love this yarn in Ivory. I also used black embroidery floss and white wool roving for his facial details. I used a 2.75 millimeter C-hook, and he came out to be approximately 3.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and I'm loving it. My next pattern comes from one of my many favorite pattern designers, and that's Chloe from Emmy Creations by Chloe. She also has a YouTube channel here, by the way, and she goes by Chloe UN, and I will have everything linked down below. But she came out with a new line of designs. She had a recent trip to Japan, got inspired by their food designs, and Japan is known for making their food kawaii looking, cute looking, and so she drew up some designs, came back home and whipped up some patterns, and I'm super excited to try them out. And I bought one, and this is what I came out with. I'm super happy with how it came out, and this is her design, the curry bear. So this is a little white bear sitting in his curry bowl, and he even comes out, and look, he's covered in the curry. So super cute. So he sits in this curry bowl like a little flying saucer of sorts. Now this is the same designer as my boba bear, and so you can kind of see a similarity in her designs, but I love the way that the construction is. I bought her boba bear pattern because of the construction of her boba cup. if you notice, the outside is a different color from the inside, and I wanted to learn how to do that. So I bought the pattern and I made it. Now I know. And then same thing here, her bowl and the bear, it's a two-piece. So I just love this design. She comes up with some super cute ideas and designs, and her patterns are well written. So I love Chloe. She's a great pattern designer. Now for this pattern, I did find it difficult stuffing. That is the number one and only thing I have negative to say about it. Not really negative, but I did find it challenging, to be honest. Now, I found it challenging because you have to kind of find a balance between overstuffing and understuffing. Now, if you notice, my curry is actually sitting above the rim of my bowl, and so that's the overstuffing part. But then I didn't want to understuff where it's not gonna give a round shape to the bowl. So yeah, I did find it quite challenging. And then the shaping of the bottom of the bowl is not quite consistent, but you can kind of manipulate it by pinching it like so to give it that shaping. Otherwise, it just becomes like one round surface. Like, let me see. Yeah, that's taking it away. So it might end up looking more like that, but really it should be more defined like this. And that just goes with a little bit of manipulation, like massaging your amigurumi to give it that shape. And then when I set it down on a flat surface, I'll find that my bowl is a little lopsided because it's, I don't know, it was just it was difficult to stuff evenly, because you're stuffing from the side. So you're stuffing from one end all the way around till you get to the other end. That's how you're stuffing. And to keep it consistent all the way through and through from beginning to end is quite challenging. And then you got that overstuffing and understuffing balance that you have to do. So the stuffing part is definitely by far the most difficult part of this pattern. But other than that, it was easy to follow. She writes great patterns, and it comes out super cute. I am in love with the way that my curry bear came out. Now Chloe uses a thinner yarn. I think she uses like possibly a 3-weight cotton, or maybe even a 2-weight. I'm not sure, because to be honest, when I look at patterns, I skip over that stuff and I just gravitate towards my preferred yarn and hook combination, and I don't really pay attention to the designer's yarn choices or hook choices. So mine did come out much bigger than hers, so just keep that in mind. But if you are a amigurumis that loves using a 4-weight yarn, yours will come out closer to my size. With the same weight yarn and hook size for the rest of the body, I felt like the bow tie came out sloppy. So what I did was I downsized my yarn and my hook, and it came out much tidier. I think it looks much better, and the proportion looks much better. So I'm super happy with the way that he came out. Now, when you're attaching the inner and outer bowl pieces together, it is a little bit tricky. It's very unusual. I've never encountered this technique in any of the patterns that I've done so far. So for that reason, I would not recommend this pattern for a newbie beginner. If you're more advanced, I think it's easier for you to understand how Chloe does it. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend this particular pattern just for that reason of joining the inner and outer, unless you're willing to just maybe sew it together as opposed to stitching it together. But even then, the concept, you still need to understand the concept behind what Chloe is doing. And if you get the pattern, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, not recommended for beginners, absolute beginners. For this pattern, I used I Love This yarn in the colorways black, brown, and ivory. Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek in the colors mustard, pumpkin spice, and green apple. And Ice Yarns Alara in the colorway black. I used a 3.75 millimeter F hook, and with a 4-weight yarn, he came out to be 6¼ inches wide by 6 inches tall. I'm super happy with the way that he came out, despite the challenges of stuffing. I'm super happy. Now that's all that I have for this episode. My next episode, I will have some mini dolls to show you. I'm super excited to share that with you. Now, if you've been here for a while, you've noticed that my episodes have been running like in the 1 hour time frame. And I want to try and bring that back down to manageable size. So I'm going to cut it off here. Hopefully it's around 20-ish minutes so that it's more bite-sized and easier to consume, and hopefully you won't have to wait as long in between episodes for you to watch. So I hope that I can keep up with the schedule and still have content to show you. So let me know down below what you think of the shorter episodes, if it's better for you or if you prefer the longer ones, or it doesn't matter. Let me know. I would appreciate your feedback. But until next episode, have a fun crafty week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.